Hey guys, so tonight I'm coming on here to film another video, obviously, but I'm coming on here tonight to tell you a little bit about what it's like to have type 1 diabetes. So, when I was first diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, I was devastated because I didn't really know what diabetes was, but I knew kind of that it was like an old person disease and that only fat people got it and everything else, but that is not true. But that's what I knew at the time. But yeah, so when I got diabetes, I was like, what? How is this even possible? I'm not overweight, I'm not like 60, and I don't eat the wrong foods. Well, I ate like what a normal teenager would eat, but it wasn't like terrible. And so, that's what I thought diabetes was until I went to diabetes education class and learned the difference between type 1 and type 2 diabetes and everything else. So yeah. So what it's like to have diabetes is, it's a lot of needles, but despite what people think, needles don't hurt that bad. It's the occasional stinging, but it doesn't hurt. If you're a total needle phobe, I get it, but I was a needle phobe. I could not even get my finger pricked. It was that bad, and I would freak out at the sight of a needle. Like, I literally passed out the first time I got my blood drawn. I'm not even kidding you. I freaked out for like an hour before it was drawn, and then I passed out after they drew it, so it was not good. But yeah, there's a lot of needles involved in it, and it's not as painful as you think it would be, but it's a lot of stress, that's for sure. Being type 1, you have to deal with the fear of diabetic ketoacidosis, you have to deal with the fear of going too low and having a seizure or dying, you have to deal with the fluctuations in your blood sugar and how crappy that makes you feel in itself, you have to deal with the constant highs, constant lows, everything else. And it's a lot of stress trying to keep all that in check. I'll be honest with you. Like right now I'm high and I haven't even done anything to make my blood sugar high. Like, I have not eaten in 6 hours. So that's just kind of what happens. I took my insulin pump set off for like a half an hour when I took a shower. So that's probably what made it high. But yeah, so being type 1 is pretty stressful. It's also kind of a burden sometimes, like when you're trying to explain to people like that you can eat what you want to eat as long as you take your insulin. Like, that's a little difficult to explain to people who stereotype type 1 and type 2. So that's kind of a burden, and I have a lot of friendships that have ended because of my diabetes, because it was just too stressful for my friends to have to worry about. Luckily, I have a really awesome friend named Mara, who has a service dog named Willow, and she is very supportive of my diabetes, and she makes sure that I check my blood sugar, and she makes sure that I eat the right foods and everything else, because there are times where I do make bad decisions when it comes to my foods, and that's never a good thing to do, especially when you're diabetic. Yeah. So one awesome thing about having diabetes is that you can get a service dog. And hi, Hero. This is my retired service dog, Hero. Hi, buddies. He's shaved right now. He usually has really long hair. Oh, that's a spot. Okay, go away. And now I have a service dog named Medic. And they help me with my type 1 diabetes and my seizure disorder, because I have a seizure disorder. And yeah, so they help me with that, and so that's super awesome that they're able to tell me when my blood sugar is too high or too low, and that eliminates my need for my Dexcom, luckily, because that is one less piece of, why are you, oh, you're alerting my high. I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing, Dorcas? Yeah. He alerts at 180, so I'm probably up there. Okay, go away. Go away. Mama knows. Thank you. I'll take insulin. So yeah, so that's one perk of having diabetes. Another perk of having diabetes is that there's so much cool technology out there for managing diabetes. Hero, what are you doing? For example, my insulin pump, which is right here. There. My insulin pump, which is right there. Dexcoms, insulin pump CGMs, the Freestyle Libre, which is now approved in the United States, and more. But I don't truly trust the Freestyle Libre or Dexcom or any CGM because I had the Dexcom and it was inaccurate more than it was accurate. So, yeah. That's just my experience with Dexcom. I mean, there were times where I really loved it because it would alert me and I was actually low before my diabetic alert dog was trained for me, but it was inaccurate a lot of the times when it came to highs and stuff like that. Like, it would tell me I was like 500. It doesn't even go that high. It would tell me I was like high, just read high, and in reality I was a lot lower than that. But yeah, so that is one thing that is really awesome about diabetes, is that there's so much technology. Something that you have to deal with a lot when you have diabetes is the stereotypes of diabetes. Like I said, people judge you for what you eat and everything else. What are you doing, Hero? But yeah, so that's what it's like to have type 1 diabetes. But yeah, so that's pretty much what it's like. Your daily life is consumed by finger pricks and insulin injections or pump injections. Or not pump injections, but you know what I mean, pump infusion sets, stuff like that. But yeah, so your life is just consumed by it, and your friendships are consumed by it, your family life is consumed by it. Everything you do, you have to think about how it's going to affect your diabetes. For example, if you go swimming, you're going to have to think about how it affects your diabetes. Anything you eat, you're going to have to think about how it affects your diabetes. Any exercise you do, you're going to have to think about how it affects your diabetes, and many more things. Your stress levels, your hormones, your period affects it. Everything affects your diabetes. But yeah, so that's what it's like to live with it, guys. Bye. Subscribe.